feels like she just got sucked into this world.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the most influential podcasts. From shows that are racking the highest streams to those that dominate social media discussions. These ongoing titles are all the rage, even if they are between seasons right now.
And at first, nobody says that Colin Albert was even at the house that night.
Number 10, this past weekend, debuted 2016. Theo Vaughn brings his unique comedic flair to this free-flowing podcast, where he interviews friends, celebrities, and political figures alike.
My son's a big fan of yours, Baron.
Really, Baron is?
Thanks to his stand-up experience, his conversations not only flow seamlessly, but are witty and at times downright chaotic.
Sorry, I want to go back to what you're saying.
His ability to bring out the candor of his guests and genuinely empathize with them proves his talent as an interviewer. He doesn't hesitate to throw in a risque joke here and there, but is never toxic or deliberately offensive in an attempt to rage bait his listeners.
Yeah. They got some real singers in this town, huh?
Well, it's either really good or it's really bad.
Oh, yeah.
This past weekend is a pleasant time that will also feed your curiosity about worldly topics.
Well, thanks for all you've done so far, man.
Oh, thank you, brother. Very cool.
Number 9, Armchair Expert, debuted 2018. Dax Shepard has long been known as one of the funniest actors in Hollywood. So when he launched a podcast with Monica Padman about all the shenanigans we humans get up to, it naturally found a massive audience.
And then my very favorite, both of ours, kind of social commentary, character-y deliciousness is White Lotus. These are like...
His star-studded guest list comes as no surprise, given his own status as an A-lister, but it is the authenticity of his chats with them that captivates fans.
I didn't really have an issue being second guest because I truly was like,
whatever, yeah.
I know who I am.
We get our favorite celebs opening up like never before, and this, in turn, humanizes them.
Your show is so sexy.
Oh my God. Jesus, you used it.
Through the podcast's lighthearted yet profound episodes, famous figures like Stanley Tucci and Matt Damon became more relatable than we'd ever imagined. That's the magic of Armchair Expert.
No, sometimes it can't be done.
Right. No, apparently they think it can't be done, so.
Number 8, Serial, debuted 2014. If you like your dose of true crime with a side of serious investigative reporting, this is the podcast for you.
The Justice Center in Cleveland, Ohio takes up a whole city block downtown. It's a cluster of concrete towers built in the 1970s. I could hedge here, but I'm just going to say it. The buildings are hideous, but practical.
Every season, host Sarah Koenig dives deep into an intriguing case, explores all possible angles, and most importantly, raises new questions about what we know.
To not ever contact Asia McClain, to never find out if her story helps or hurts your case, that makes no sense whatsoever.
She is hands-on with her journalism and substantiates her material with loaded interviews, one of which she conducted with the Taliban.
How does one get in touch with the Taliban?
Well, so, you talk to someone who actually has connections with the Taliban.
And who would that be?
So,
Sarah, let me write this down.
No wonder Serial crossed the 5 million download mark on iTunes Store faster than any other podcast with its first season in 2014. In fact, the show is so impactful, even SNL and Family Guy parodied it.
I love podcasts. Which ones are you listening to?
I really like this one called Serial.
That was cornflakes.
Number 7, WTF with Mark Maron, debuted 2009. You're not a true podcast aficionado unless you've given this one a listen.
But Bill Hader, I'm surprised that, notice how I dropped your name in there?
Yeah, I like that.
One of the OGs of the podcasting world, WTF takes listeners on an intimate journey with eminent guests who usually have something very important to say, or rather, get off their chests.
Music-wise, I'm not worried about reviews. I know I'm right.
Right.
Despite Maron's reputation as a comedian, he's in no mood to joke around when he sits down with his interviewees. Instead, he forges a genuine connection with them, giving them a safe place to lower their guards.
Now, unfortunately, they're now hitting the age where they still love me, but they think I'm completely boring.
Yeah.
And so they'll come in, pat me on the head, talk to me for 10 minutes, and then they're gone all weekend, right? And
one such memorable episode starred Robin Williams, in which he spoke frankly about living with depression. Someone needs to be facilitating these conversations, and we're glad it's Mark Maron doing so.
Well, we're going to go back to the podcast now because Mark's sitting here, but we're talking now.
Number 6, Caller Daddy, debuted 2018. There are two types of therapy. One you get from a professional, and another from Alexandra Cooper, spilling the tea with her refreshingly transparent guests.
Do you have like a type? I know like you're attracted to people's souls, like you're attracted to, but do you have like, who are you in a relationship? I'm so interested to know. Are you hyper crazy and do you like a calm person?
Oh my God. I actually do kind of need, I usually end up complaining that they're boring, but that's what I need.
So unsurprisingly, Caller Daddy is one of the most buzzworthy podcasts at the moment.
There'll probably be something new from this interview.
Oh, of course.
That I'm just like,
you don't want to know what's going to come from this interview? Hailey Bieber talking about sex.
Alex started the show with Sophia Franklin as a way to vent about their private lives, no matter how problematic. These days, it's more of a confessional where celebrities are confronted about topics ranging from their relationships to fame, feminism, and mental health.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we get to a certain point in adult life where everything's kind of vague and grey and boring. And she's brought that colour back for me, for sure.
Cooper's guests offer unfiltered honesty, and the casual vibe resembles a conversation between friends. What's not to love?
I love ya. Congrats. Congrats.
Number 5, Stuff You Should Know, debuted 2008. We wouldn't fault you for thinking an educational podcast wouldn't really have mass appeal. However, Stuff You Should Know is exactly what will prove you wrong.
So you're saying if you walk into a restaurant and it says no shirt, no shoes, no service, you would say, hey, I didn't see a sign at that place, so that must mean you can go in there without a shirt on.
If I stopped and thought about it, yes, that logically makes sense. But
this isn't your run-of-the-mill condescending lecture about facts you could easily go without bothering about. Instead, Josh Clark and Charles W. Bryant offer an insightful coverage of everything from Cher to Area 51, history, and high art.
They had their own museum to put some of these in Beijing. So that was one of the big sort of groups trying to head up this effort.
Right.
Remember, that one weird question you thought of in the shower on a random Thursday? You'll probably find an episode dedicated to it here.
that in and of itself is reason enough not to walk under a ladder, correct?
I think so, except I do it.
So jump right in, because there is, indeed, a lot of stuff you should know that you probably don't yet.
It's been stuff you should know. That's right. Yeah.
Number 4, This American Life, debuted 1995. If you have an insatiable need for storytelling, look no further than this Pulitzer Prize-winning podcast by Ira Glass.
When I walked around Lauren's neighborhood with her, it had been 2 months since her boyfriend broke up with her. They'd gone up for about 10 months before that.
TAL highlights stories of people belonging to all walks of life, adhering to a particular theme per show. The tales are exceedingly fascinating, giving epic proportions to the mundane.
The story goes like this. When he was getting together with Marissa's mom, Debbie, drove across the country to move in with Ron in Florida.
As it has been on the air since 1995, This American Life is a part of history itself and has captured slices of the bygone eras in its episodes.
One of the odd things about doing this story was when I showed them to Inger, she had never seen any of these pictures. It was like handing her all these moments from her past that she didn't even know existed.
It was even turned into an Emmy-winning TV show and birthed the aforementioned Serial podcast, as well as spin-offs like S-Town and The Trojan Horse Affair. So Glass quite literally paved the way for today's podcast generation.
Wow.
Number 3, Crime Junkie, debuted 2017. Although this podcast's reputation has been tainted by multiple plagiarism accusations, its success remains unstoppable.
Jen McCabe is the one communicating with John when they left the bar, right?
Right.
In Crime Junkie, Britt Prowett joins longtime BFF Ashley Flowers as they uncover the gritty details of the most chilling criminal cases.
Now, this window does end up becoming a huge part of the narrative later.
Ashley's dark retellings are punctuated by the funniest reactions from Britt, who brings some much-needed levity into the mix.
Okay, so now what? She's like texting everyone from the bathroom that she's hiding in?
The final product hits the sweet spot between being immersive but not traumatizing enough that you'll have nightmares about the events discussed in the show. It's the perfect indulgence for any true crime fanatic.
I think it's just like, I think from somebody like that, from many people who've committed terrible crimes, I think it's possible that their perspective is, I would have been such a victim and almost like I did what I had to do to, quote, survive.
Number 2, The Daily, debuted 2017. This New York Times podcast is for anyone who barely has the time to turn on the news, let alone pick up a newspaper.
The question hovering over President Trump's first 100 days in office is whether his extraordinarily aggressive approach to everything from tariffs to deportations is exactly what most Americans wanted.
The Daily is where you can get your current affairs briefing on the way to or from work, while completing chores or even running errands. The bite-sized episodes offer crisp reporting, complete with expert interviews, so that you're always up to date with what's happening in the world.
If we see these tariffs hit, if we see consumers pull back, if we see a real slowdown in the economy, companies won't be on hold anymore. They'll be cutting jobs and we'll see unemployment rise.
Hosts Michael Barbaro and Sabrina Tavernice's friendly approach also helped popularize the audio series. Since Sabrina's exit from the show, journalists Rachel Abrams and Natalie Kitroeff have taken her place alongside Michael.
Natalie, thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. The Mel Robbins Podcast, debuted in 2022. If you want life advice, take it from Mel.
Maybe it's all the training as a lawyer, but I've always thought about negotiation as making a case.
I know.
Acquired, debuted in 2015. Learn about the A to Z of business.
First, we have to ask you about your shirt and what you're wearing.
Yeah, you know, I started working with people to design some of my own clothes.
Radiolab, debuted in 2002. This is science and philosophy made fun.
So it would see a rainbow starting with blue.
Same blue we see.
And then grading off into green.
Same green as us.
And then disappearing. The rainbow would end there.
Smartless, debuted in 2020. Come for the celebrities. Stay for the banter.
After we filmed Clueless, I knew nothing about anything. I still don't that much, really.
Were you clueless?
I was clueless. Well done, you.
Welcome to Smartless.
All In, debuted in 2020. Understand the world from the perspective of 4 venture capitalists.
And so my best judgment is that this project is going to end in disastrous failure, despite having put its finger on some important concerns.
Not Gonna Lie, debuted in 2024. Kylie Kelsey is charmingly honest in her pop culture pod.
My kids were teenagers in the White House. I mean, those years were just like, okay.
Welcome to Night Vale, debuted in 2012. Fictional supernatural mysteries delivered right to your headphones.
Wednesday has been canceled due to a scheduling error.
What if the truth about our reality has been hidden in plain sight? I'm Rob, and this is Unveiled, a podcast that dives headfirst into the biggest mysteries of our time. Each episode, I sit down with thought leaders, insiders, experiencers, and visionaries to explore the unknown.
The reality is that there's people out there that have reported terrifying experiences with these things, and the term abduction comes to mind.
From the UAP phenomenon and government cover-ups to alien abductions, remote viewing, and the metaphysics of consciousness. This is not your average UFO podcast. Unveiled is about peeling back the layers of reality, of belief, of ourselves. So if you're ready to challenge the mainstream narrative, expand your mind, and discover what lies beyond the veil, check out Unveiled and join me on this journey into the unknown.
Number 1, The Joe Rogan Experience, debuted in 2009. Hosted by UFC analyst Joe Rogan, the JRE podcast has taken the world by storm.
I mean, this certainly has taken over the mind space of the world to a degree that is quite shocking.
Yeah. Wow, out of nowhere. That's what's crazy. It's like you go back to November, nothing.
Now here we are, December, January, February, March, April, May, 6 months, totally different world.
It boasts a cult following and usually holds the top spot on Spotify's podcast charts. The show shot to fame with Rogan unraveling conspiracy theories about aliens and Pizzagate.
That's the beautiful idea. The terrible idea is that it's all us. And then it's all a big ruse, and it's all just drones that we're doing.
However, in recent years, it's taken a more distinct anti-woke tone, partly due to several guests pushing that rhetoric on his platform.
Wherever I go now, I'm among friends. It's very strange.
Meanwhile, the host himself has been accused of political incorrectness. Notably, Rogan invites voices from various political groups to JRE, but his personal support for Donald Trump in the 2024 U.S. election ruffled some feathers.
How are they generating money that way, though?
Well, they get fees.
They get fees.
Massive fees.
Nevertheless, the Joe Rogan Experience continues to dominate new media, and its influence is showing no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, there's always going to be good in this world, and there's always going to be evil, and you got to kind of like battle it out.
If you could only listen to one podcast for the rest of your life, which one would it be? Tell us in the comments down below.
Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate your time, dude.
I appreciate you.